A man in Texas beheaded a rattlesnake with a shovel, watched it stop moving, bent down to pick up the severed head. The head turned and bit him. No body, no heartbeat, no brain. And it still struck with enough force to drive both fangs through his skin and inject every drop of venom it had. The full load, unregulated all at once. He lost consciousness before they reached the hospital. Seizures, kidney failure, 5 days in a coma. A standard rattlesnake bite requires 2 to 4 doses of antivenom. He needed 26. He survived. But the biology that almost killed him is the same biology running inside every venomous snake you will ever encounter. And understanding it completely changes how you think about them. Because there is another snake that uses the same nervous system in the opposite direction. Not biting after death, performing death while completely alive. And it is so convincing that it has been fooling predators for millions of years and still fools the scientists trying to study it. The eastern hognose snake is not venomous, to humans, not fast. What it has evolved instead is the most theatrical death performance in the animal kingdom. A multi-stage act so committed and so detailed that researchers who study it describe the experience of watching it as genuinely unsettling. When something threatens a hognose, the first response is pure bluff. It spreads its neck flat and wide like a cobra. It hisses loud enough to be heard clearly. It lunges forward in mock strikes, but with its mouth closed, no intention to bite, relying entirely on the hope that whatever is watching it doesn't know that. This is the hognose being an actor who hasn't yet broken character. If the bluff fails, stage 2 begins. And this is where it gets strange. The snake starts to writhe, not running, convulsing, twisting as if in violent distress. Then it rolls onto its back, mouth falling open, tongue dropping out to one side. If it has eaten recently, it vomits. It releases a foul musk from its anal glands, specifically mimicking the smell of a carcass deep into decomposition. In some individuals, blood vessels near the mouth rupture, pooling real blood in the oral cavity. Heart rate drops to almost nothing. Breathing becomes nearly undetectable. Every sensory signal available to a predator, visual, olfactory, auditory, screams the same message. Dead, rotting, dangerous to eat. One researcher, in a moment of genuine scientific dedication, tasted the musk firsthand. His verdict? Slightly acrid, unpleasant, manageable for a human. For a coyote, apparently it is completely intolerable. The detail that reveals everything, here is where the performance becomes philosophically strange. If you pick up a hognose in the middle of its death display and place it right side up, it immediately rolls back onto its back. Every single time. You can do this repeatedly and the snake will keep flipping over, maintaining the belly up position with absolute insistence. Dead snakes in nature end up on their backs because of muscle relaxation and body curvature. The hognose has encoded this into its performance. It knows at some preconscious level that a dead snake doesn't lie belly down, and it will not allow itself to be placed in the position that contradicts the display. The behavior is innate, not learned. Hognose hatchlings that have never seen a predator, never encountered a threat, never observed another snake perform the display, they do it perfectly the first time they are frightened. The full act, complete and polished, is hardwired into every individual at birth, which tells you everything about the evolutionary pressure behind it. Every hognose that performed badly, got up too early, didn't smell right, rolled back too slowly, was eaten before it reproduced. Over millions of generations, only the convincing performances survived to pass on their genetics. What exists today is the result. A death act so refined it holds for up to 2 hours and resists the snake's own attempts to break character when physically repositioned. When a hognose finally decides the danger has passed, it flicks its tongue slowly to test the air, then gradually rights itself and moves away. Even the ending is choreographed. Why it works on predators, Thanatosis, the scientific term for death feigning, exploits 2 completely separate circuits in predator psychology simultaneously, which is why it is so difficult to override. The first is movement. Most hunting predators are triggered by the flight response of prey. Their attention is activated by motion, the running, the thrashing, the panic. A prey animal that stops moving entirely vanishes from this trigger. It is no longer recognizable as prey in the way the predator's brain is wired to identify prey. The second is smell. The decomposition musk activates a deep biological aversion that exists in most carnivores independently of any learned behavior. Rotting meat carries bacterial toxins and parasites that can kill the animal consuming it. The revulsion response to decay is not cultural, it is a survival circuit that evolved precisely to prevent animals from eating dangerous carrion. The Hognose hijacks it. The two together, no movement and decomposition smell, hit two separate alarm systems simultaneously. The predator's brain receives no confirmation that this is prey, and multiple signals that it is a hazard. The Hognose walks away. The biology behind both the Texas rattlesnake and the Hognose snake share the same underlying architecture, and understanding it explains both behaviors at once. Snake nervous systems are built around reflex arcs, pre-programmed neural circuits that fire in response to specific stimuli without requiring any input from the brain. Snakes have taken this further than almost any other vertebrate because of one feature: they are cold-blooded. A cold-blooded animal requires a fraction of the oxygen that a warm-blooded animal needs to keep its tissues alive. This means that after circulation stops, after breathing stops, after every visible sign of life disappears, the neural circuits continue functioning independently for far longer than they would in a mammal. The bite reflex is still active. The sensory systems are still running. A 2018 paper in Clinical Toxicology documented this. Severed venomous snake heads remain capable of delivering a full envenomation for between 20 and 60 minutes after decapitation. 20 minutes minimum. From a head with no body and no brain activity. And in the case of the Texas man, one further factor made the outcome as severe as it was. A living snake controls how much venom it injects. A warning bite, a partial dose, a measured strike. The regulatory system for this is distributed across the snake's body. When the head is severed, that regulation is gone. The head has no way to modulate the injection. It delivers the maximum available dose in a single automatic strike, with no ability to hold anything back. What seems like an act of aggression from a dead animal is in reality just a reflex circuit firing with nothing left to regulate it. This is what makes the two snakes so strange considered together. The Hognose is alive and makes itself appear dead by surrendering to an automatic shutdown system that simulates death so accurately it withstands physical examination. The rattlesnake head is dead and still functions as if alive, because its reflex circuits remain active after everything else has stopped. Both are running the same neural architecture. Both are operating outside conscious control. In one, the brain is present but bypassed. In the other, the brain is gone and the circuits run anyway. The most dangerous assumption you can make around a venomous snake is that the encounter is already over, that you've won, that it's safe to reach down. The snake does not need to be alive for that assumption to kill you. If this completely changed how you think about snakes, subscribe and hit the bell. There's a new story every week. Drop a comment. Which one disturbs you more, the one that fakes death or the one that bites after it? See you in the next one.